Hi, hi, hi.
Hi, so welcome to today's show because we get to hear about goals with the best guy that does the best goal setting ever. Welcome, Raitis.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. So good to be here.
Yes, I'm Wendy Hansen. I'm your host today because I like to help people learn and grow. So I had to find the best person I knew that knows how to do that so well. So I'm so glad you could join me on this virgin voyage.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about give a quick snapshot of your story because we're only going to do about 15 minutes today, but your
Okay.
story to me is so inspiring. Give us that overview, and then I want you to share some things about your top tips on goal setting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, like I said, my name is Raitis. I'm the founder of an online platform called setgoalcity.com. And my story begins back in Latvia, which is a small Eastern European country. I grew up in a very, very large family, six kids, and my mom pretty much raised all of us by herself. And growing up was very, very tough. We didn't have much money, and Latvia was part of my childhood. Latvia was part of the communist country, USSR, and I remember things like not having groceries in the stores and just terrible things like that. So I grew up with lots of struggles, which actually kind of looking back now, obviously I realized that it was a good thing and made me stronger, made me a better human being. At age 20, I decided that I would leave Latvia. I would look for a better place that fits me better, my personality, and with more opportunities. And of course, I decided to move here to the United States, and it was the best decision. I came here with $80, a suitcase, with very little English, but with big dreams and hopes and aspirations. And ever since coming to this country, I've been obsessed with a question like, what does it take to succeed? What does it take to create the life that you want? And what separates successful people from unsuccessful people? And a question that I asked myself ever since I was a little kid. Even in Latvia, there were people who are succeeding. There were people who are struggling all the time. So that question has been fascinating me ever since I was a little kid. And here I am 13 years later. I've been so fortunate and grateful to build multiple companies. Sold my last e-commerce business 2 years ago, as you know. And now I am on my fourth endeavor, which is an online platform for experts where we represent other experts. We have online courses, seminars, and retreats, and we have an incredible free goal-setting app, and the platform is called setgoalcity.com. So that's my story in kind of very, very condensed version.
When we first met 4 years ago, I guess it was, when I heard that
Toastmasters.
story, I had never heard since like the 1930s of people arriving with $80 in a suitcase. I didn't think you could do that these days. So, and I have had the honor to watch a lot of these businesses you've had grow and have you sell them. And there's something about what you do and the faith that you have in yourself and in others that make you successful. What's like the top three things that you think got you from getting off that plane from Latvia and landing in Florida, right? Your first endeavor, to where you are now? What would be those top three things?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think the first one would be curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly being curious, like a little kid. I was this immigrant. A lot of people made fun of me at first. I constantly would ask questions like, why is this way? Why is this way? What do I need to do this to get this? I constantly ask questions. And I remember like some people actually get really, really frustrated with me because I ask so many damn questions. But I think that that's number one, what really took me
I
from
love
where.
that. Yes.
Yes, live like a little kid. I mean, you know me a little bit personally, and I think I'm constantly live like a little kid, being curious about everything, myself, the world. Why do we do what we do? Constantly asking questions and just being curious. I think that's the number one thing that took me from $80 a suitcase to where I am today.
Yes,
And
I love that, and I know you and I have that in common. I'm a little kid too, and it's about curiosity, and it's about not judging, but being curious and
yes,
just saying, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" And
yes,
tell me more. Yeah,
yes, yes.
curiosity number one. I didn't expect to hear that as number one, and I love that. I think it's outstanding. Yes. What's
Yeah.
number two?
I'm sorry.
What's number two?
Number two, and it's funny that as I'm telling these things, I realize they are completely free, and anyone can have them. That's the amazing thing. Yeah. Curiosity, number one, and number two is positive mental attitude. You know, being optimistic. You know, that it's completely free. It's a choice you make. Being optimistic about what's tomorrow, and I think when you come with $80 in a suitcase, it can't get really any worse. That's the amazing thing. You know, if you're watching this interview and you are feeling that you are to have hit rock bottom, be excited about it, because that's the worst place you could ever be at. Right. So, you know, if you're in trouble right now, you're experiencing some difficulties, it's a good thing. You know, the only way to go is up. So I think being very, very optimistic and kind of like expecting the good things about to happen to you, and expecting good things from everything, every situation, every person you meet, every endeavor you undertake. Yes, some things will not work out, but that expecting that constantly something good's going to happen. I think that's number two that has taken me to where I am.
Yes. Because what I've seen, Raitis, as a coach, is that a lot of people, when they get to that place where it doesn't feel good, sometimes they back up and they turn around. And that's, you know, you've got to get to that 11th hour place where it's hard, and you got to get over to the other side, and then it's so worth it. So I love that, because we do have a choice. And I love you point out these things are free. Everybody can do them. It doesn't cost anything. Yes. Right.
And
so
absolutely
curious, and we have to be able to have a positive attitude and see like what's possible in this, and know that whatever situation you're in, you can shift it.
Exactly. I was just reading a book called Philosopher's Notes yesterday, and he can't remember the author, but the author basically said that, you know, optimism is like a muscle. You know, when you train a muscle, you got to work out and you got to lift weights, and you push it to the breaking point, and then you heal and you come back stronger. The same thing with your positive attitude. Sometimes you wake up and you can be only excited for half an hour, and then you go back to your depressing state. That's okay. Next morning you wake up, try to be more positive for 45 minutes, and you're just keeping at it. Right. Next thing you know, like people meet you like, you're like positive all the time. Like, how do you do this? It's like, well, I've just practiced, you know, right now, being excited with you, being excited about this interview. It's so simple, but yet so powerful if you practice it.
Yes, it is simple, but not easy for some people. And I love that it's a muscle. It's true. Like people think about, you don't go to the gym once, you know, and do this, and then it stays. You got to keep at it. So you have to, I always get that question all the time. People say, why are you always smiling? Well, why not? You know, like it becomes like easy. Like, how could you not smile?
Yes.
I love that. Perfect.
Absolutely. And the third thing, it would kind of tying back to the first point, which is more in depth, which is continuous education. You know, I graduated basically equivalent to United States education system. I have 2 years of college degree. That's it. And I think the rate, the speed of everything changing today, you cannot succeed if you're not committed to continuous education. And I think that's one thing I admire about you, that you are just so up to date with everything that's going on, and that's why you are thriving in the world. Where I see, you know, some people that been in this industry for a while, you know, coaching what you do, and they're not willing to adapt with technology and all the new things that are happening, and their business is dying slowly. And I think that's the third thing. You gotta be committed to continuous education. You gotta constantly being curious. So that's one, right? Yeah. But then what am I going to learn today? You know, like if you came to my house right now, like I'm just going to grab a book. For example, this morning I was reading The Compound Effect, you know, talking about all the little things that you do every day adds to big things. And I'm constantly surrounded by books. I'm constantly surrounded by my journal. This was just sitting here, right? So constantly taking notes and learning and being the student, constantly being the student, because some people go, you know, to some fancy colleges and they spend a lot of money, and as soon as they out of the college, they think, I'm done. Now let's live. Let's, you know, get a job and be happy. But I think the happiness and success comes from constant improvement, constantly improving every day a little bit, and constantly asking question, what area of my life can improve?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's relationships, sometimes it's finances, but there's always something that you can learn and improve your life.
Right. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to say congratulations again on your recent engagement. Talk about improving relationships in life. Yes.
Thank you. And it's funny, I have, a lot of people ask, as far as goal setting, when you get down to goal setting, people ask, how can I set a goal to meet the love of my life? And my answer is this, since you took me there, because maybe a lot of people that are watching this might be curious, like, how do I find my love of my life? And here's what I have learned.
I'm curious, Raitis, you know that.
Okay, so here's what I have learned. You can't really set a goal that I will meet the love of my life or will be married by December 31st of 2017. In my opinion, it doesn't work that way. You can't, because it involves two people, right? It's you and somebody else. So you can't really set a goal because you got to have the other person who's committed as much as you are. But what you can commit, and that's what I committed, and that was be the person who you want to meet. If you want to meet somebody who's kind, loving, patient, all these qualities, be that first. That way you can attract the same kind of person. That's number one. And number two,
attracts right?
Exactly. Like it, like. So you see, you already got it. And then the second thing is, what you can do is commit putting yourself out there. And that's another thing, so many people have been burned by unhealthy relationships, or things didn't work out, and they think this is it, it's the end of the world. It's not, unless you give up.
Right.
It's over if you give up, and then you can be right. It's like, but if you keep putting yourself out there, keep going on dates, keep going to events that you have the chances to find that kind of person you're looking for. If you want to find somebody who is in arts and educated, you might go to museums or art shows or concerts. Don't go to bars and looking for, for your future love of your life. So that's my biggest advice, is like just putting yourself out there and constantly believe that there is somebody out there for you.
Yes. I love that, because you broke that down into a goal, because some people might write their goal as like, I want to meet the love of my life, or I'm going to do this. And it's like, we have to have a second part in that is actionable, that you can say, oh, I'm doing my part in that. So
yes, and you can control it, and you can say, did I go on one day this week? You can see you can track that. Did I go or not?
Right.
And if you went on a date, you said you're going to go to one date, it's not working out. Maybe now it's time to increase to 2 dates a week. Put yourself more out there. You can control that, and you can feel good about that. But if you just put such a deadline, you put too much pressure, and you can't control that unless you really grab somebody by their hand. It's like, you're gonna.
That's not a good approach. Not a good approach. No. So those three pieces of goals of curiosity, being positive, and continuous learning, whether you're have goals around your business because you're an entrepreneur, you work inside a company and you're trying to be better as a team, or whether it's a relationship, those count so much. I love those, very inspiring. Yeah. That can help us all move ahead.
Absolutely. And can I add one more?
Please.
Because this one.
We'll give you number 4 because you're special. Yes.
Thank you. So I think that really ultimately where it all starts is right here, right? And so you got to take care. We already talked about the mind, but the last one, you also have to take care of your physical health. Because if your body is not at peak performance, you're not energetic, you don't have that energy, you don't eat the right foods, you don't exercise, you can have the biggest goals, the biggest ambitions, but your body will not be able to follow that big vision. You're going to get exhausted. You're going to get unmotivated. You are more likely to succeed in the world if you nourish your body, take care of your body. I always say this: your body is like a $1 billion investment. Think of your body as the most precious thing that you can't even put a price. When people say I'm poor, you're never poor. You have your mind, you have your body, and that's wealth right there. If you're healthy, you have 2 hands, you have 2 legs, you can see. So that's in the last one I would like, if you've been putting yourself kind of on the last place in on a priority list, and putting everything else, your job, your family, all those things are important. But ultimately, you're not those things going to suffer because you're not your best version you can be. So, as you know, I'm very, very big on that.
Well, I love, because when I first met you, that was one of the areas that you were setting big goals in, and you actually have a lot of products that you've created in that whole realm. And then
that's my background.
Yeah. And I think you went from there to saying, it is this, yes, and so much more. And that's where you've developed what you're doing now. And let's give a little shout out to what you're doing in January, your retreat, because I think that's wonderful. It's going to make a difference for so many people. So tell us a little bit about that and how people can get in touch with you if they're listening to this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have created an event. It's called Goal Achievement Academy. It's a 3-day live event here in the Bay Area, Berkeley, California. It's going to be January 8th, 9th, and 10th. And it's a 3-day event where people are going to come together with like-minded people. It's about going to be 200 people, where we're going to really create a blueprint for 2016. Because a lot of times what we do, we set these big and ambitious goals, which is excellent. We're going to do that as well. But we're going to break it down. We're going to scale back to just 1 year. We're going to create a blueprint. And most importantly, we're going to look at what's working, what's not. And we're going to give you tools and resources for you to make sure that you achieve those goals that you have set for yourself.